time today in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Well, as always, it'd be awesome. You guys like, subscribe, do the things you need to do. But yeah, we're going to get right into it. A lot of new information came out about this whole Trump assassination attempt. And I have some new stuff that I am certain you haven't seen before. So we're going to get into it. We're going to go through timeline. We're going to talk about what type of guns, both the snipers and the shooter. And I know you're dying to know what kind of optics the shooter had because I haven't seen it anywhere and I have the inside scoop. Also, let's find out why they weren't covering that roof, right? We got to figure out what's going on. And we might even talk about a little bit of DEI, the whole diversity inclusion thing happening. There's some stuff going on. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. So the first thing, right, about 6:09, this is the timeline, kind of the breakdown. 6:09 is when the witnesses in the crowd started being like, hey, we see a guy up on the roof over there. Mm-hmm. Well, at that moment, you know how we hear the story of the cop who kind of climbed up there and he pointed the gun at him and he back down? Well, that was actually two people went over there. It was a Secret Service agent and a cop. And I think it was actually the cop, but I'm not certain, who climbed up. But the two of them were together. Then they checked it out. And, people give a hard time. Oh, why would you come back down? There's a shooter up. Well, I'm not getting shot in the face. That's not going to help anybody, right?
That doesn't solve any problems.
That doesn't help. To be honest, that's probably what had this guy rushing and maybe contributed to him missing the shot. But I got to say, it really seems like Trump turning his head is the only reason he missed the shot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of videos that the guy was pretty much right on.
Yeah. Just the name, that would have been the end.
All right. So 6:10, this guy starts shooting. And then by 6:20, they're off the stage and moving by. So I got a quick video of the whole event. We can kind of watch it unfold here for a second.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
All right. So first off, I gotta say, I saw this moments after it happened. Like I was actually out getting pizza and I was in the pizza place and it was on TV and it was kind of like moments ago. And the first thing I saw on the screen was all the Secret Service kind of hovered over him and protecting him. And then he came up with the fight. And then but they showed the replay a second ago, and immediately in my mind, like it was funny because I went out to the car and told the wife, I was like, oh, somebody tried to shoot the president. And I was like, there's blood on his ear, but I don't know if that's because he hit his head when the Secret Service jumped on him or what's going on. But whatever, I come back in and they show the replay of the moments, right? And I saw his hand go up to his ear and I'm like, they shot him. I mean, it hit him. And, obviously you could tell right away, it didn't look like it was going to be a fatal shot or anything, but pretty clear. But I got to say, I was impressed by the composure of this guy. I mean, he didn't act like a little bitch. And that's what a lot of people tend to go to. And when you see, when they say what the brown stuff hits the fan, I can say shit because I'm a grown ass man. I do what I want. Right. But when the shit hits the fan, you kind of see, you test the metal, right, of people and you decide, what they're made of. I got to say, he came through with that part pretty impressive. He didn't react ridiculous. He just kind of, like it was. Now, like it kind of looked like a bee stung, kind of the way he jumped and reacted. Now, the big concern that everybody has is, did everybody else react like adults and grown ass people? I think we're going to get into that a little bit more in a second, but let me kind of finish out the timeline of events. So next we have,
So I see. Well, let me back up a little bit here.
sure.
So the first shot was fired at exactly 6:11 and 33 seconds. And
Okay.
the second and third shot were fired at 6:11, 34 seconds.
Yeah, it was
PM.
quick. Now,
Yeah.
it almost looked like when I watched some of the replay videos, and I have one actually that's in the show notes that I'm going to link to that has all the different trajectory angles of each one. You guys
Mhm.
really want to check it out. And it wasn't mine. I actually saw another girl who did a great job with it. I don't know if she stole the video from somewhere or if she put it all together. If she did, it's really impressive. But it has the angles of every bullet and where they went and how it hit each person. I
Mhm.
put that in the show notes so you guys will be able to check that out
Oh,
after,
I'll check
and
that out.
you're going to
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, it's worth it. But to me, watching that, it sounds like you hear one shot that doesn't hit his ear and then immediately hits the ear with the next one.
Mhm.
But it's hard to discern it all. Like you don't know what you're hearing. There's a lot going
Right.
on, and it's a lot
And
to unpack.
also it can take a second, and that's all
Yeah,
the difference was between the shots. It
and
can take a
and
second
so
between
that
when it hits you and by the time you
right,
react. You don't
right.
necessarily react immediately.
Now, the shot that actually went and nicked his ear went right through his ear and hit the guy in the side. Not the guy who died from the headshot,
Right.
but the guy who ended up catching it on the side. He gets hit with that same bullet that hits Trump in the ear.
Yeah.
Now,
So that was
one of the,
James Copenhaver.
I believe so. Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, not the firefighter guy who took it. Now he was
Mhm.
standing up, the firefighter guy. And yeah, that was just
Yeah.
tragic. And so
Corey
I mean that yeah,
Comparator.
go ahead.
That's
The what?
50. Corey
Okay.
Comparator. That's his name.
Okay. All right. So next, let's talk about the shooter, right? What's going on
Mhm.
there? So was it Matthew Crooks, right? Thomas
Yeah.
Matthew Crooks is the guy's name.
Mhm.
Now, they have a events leading up to, and this is from CNN, and he they said on Friday, this guy, the Secret Service put out that on Friday he went to a shooting range where he was a member and practiced firing. Law enforcement told CNN, right? The next morning, he went to Home Depot. So this is Saturday morning, where he bought a 5-foot ladder and he went to the gun store, bought 50 rounds of ammunition. Then Crooks drove his Honda Sonata about an hour north, joining the thousands of people around the region who flocked the Trump rally, blah, blah, blah. And then remember, about an hour before the shooting, they saw him standing around out back with a rangefinder. And they thought it
Mhm.
was suspicious and they noted him as a person of interest. But again, if you're really lightly staffed, somebody doing something weird like that, is it binoculars? Is it a rangefinder? I mean, I guess people who are in the tactical world, I mean, I'm recognizing, a
They should know the
rangefinder.
difference, right? But I think most people. I don't think it would be weird in the binoculars. Like
Right.
an event like that, it wouldn't be weird to do.
Right. Right. And that's it. And maybe those are his viewing scope. So I think they kind of dismissed it. Now, so he goes out, he gets up on that roof. It's still unclear. I have heard so many versions about there's a fixed ladder at the back. He brought the
Mhm.
ladder. Now we know that he did buy a ladder.
Right.
It is
I
very
think it's
concerning.
confirmed that he did not bring the ladder out of the vehicle. It was in the vehicle.
100%. I agree.
And I
My
heard that he
understanding, he
climbed
actually,
up on an AC unit, but
yes.
that's
I think that's the most likely of what happened. Now, I mean, we're going to kind of break down all the epic failures of the Secret Service. And I think there were some. I mean, bottom line, anytime somebody gets a shot off, that's a failure, right? I mean, we can pretend all we want. You know, you can tell people, well, you know, Trump didn't die. So he did all right. They did good job. Well, not really, because I mean, that was just by chance that he didn't die.
Secret.
He what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he turned his head right before he got shot. I don't think that it was the Secret Service's
that prevented that. I mean, yeah,
it wasn't their fucking skills that kept him alive, you know?
right, exactly. Now,
All right, so people were alerting officers to the gunman at 6:09, only 2 minutes beforehand. But like he had said, they had seen him 20 minutes before, you know,
right,
before the shooting.
Yeah, no, exactly. So 20 minutes or well, yeah, I think it was like an hour, they said actually before the event. So Matthew Crooks, this is a picture of the guy. They have some other pictures that have a little more blood in it on the internet. I didn't think that I needed to share those. I mean, I know, you know, people like to see victory, I guess, but to me it was just kind of morbid and just bad. Now he was on the roof, and I got a nice picture of the layout of the whole thing. It's kind of crazy. So it was weird. Initially in my mind, I thought that the shooter was on the right from some of the pictures that I had seen. But, well, I guess he was on Trump's right, but not from the audience, right? You always think of things like you're sitting in a car looking forward and I'm an audience member. So, you know, whatever.
Right.
But
from the audience,
so as you're,
left and Trump's right.
Right. Audience is left. He's out there. The shooters we saw with the tripod, now they're actually on the roof right behind Trump. Whereas way to, you know, Trump's right, the audience's left is the shooter. And to me, that's a reasonably flat roof. I mean, I would actually describe that as a flat roof. And I was kind of disappointed. The head of the Secret Service, that crazy lady, Kimberly, whoever, said that they didn't actually. I have a picture. I have a picture of the roof. She said that building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, you know, there's a safety factor that would be considered there that we couldn't, or sorry, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a slope roof. And so, you know, the decision was made to secure the building from the inside. That's that Kimberly Cheadle. And
so
that's the most dumbass shit that I've ever heard in my entire life. Now, so believe it or not, there actually was a sniper team. Now, these were police snipers inside the building right underneath where the shooter was. And they, I have to point out that roof, I have a picture of a cow. You've probably seen it all over the internet, standing on a similar roof that he climbed up on. You know, I just can't feel like the trained Secret Service agents. And, you know, to be honest, they have like ladders with hooks that if you have a steep slope roof, you can kind of throw it on there so that you can kind of lay on the ladder and, you know, have a little more security. You could rig up a harness of some sort. Now, I was told that additional snipers were only provided the day before. They did have a sniper team, but 2 more from the police were provided later. Now, it's my understanding that the sniper team that everybody thinks took the shot were police snipers. These are not Secret Service, was my understanding and what was told to me. Now, it was Secret Service snipers who shot Thomas Matthew Crooks. But It wasn't these guys. It wasn't the guys with the tripod. Now I know you hear the shots and then you see the guy's head pop up. But what I was told is it's actually because they thought they were being shot at, is why he popped his head up. Because he kind of heard the bullet crack like right over his head, it seemed like, and was like, oh. But the shot, they have a 25 times scope, that guy. That guy, the one did it actually had a Night Force scope, if I remember right. I'm checking it out here. Yeah, it was a Night Force scope. And he was shooting basically a Remington 700, 300 Win Mag. But that isn't what the weapon was that actually took out Thomas. I don't know why his name keeps eluding me. Thomas Matthew Crooks, right? Believe it or not, the sniper was using, I have the official, the Secret Service guy was using an SR-25 chambered in .308, which is a gas gun. Now, this isn't a picture of the actual gun. So basically, it's an AR-10 that's set up for suppressors and just a little more premium all around. An AR-10 is like an AR-15 with .308, right? Instead of 5.56, it's .308. I don't know. Those are the basics, right, of it when you want an adult size bullet. Now, you're also probably wondering, you're like, well, yeah, but Chuck, what you promised us is what was the shooter shooting, and more important, what was his scope? Because that's what it comes down to. Because that's one of the things, like, where when we look at failure, the biggest concern is how the hell was that roof not covered, right? That roof, I'm not saying it was a guaranteed shot, because honestly, that guy took a pretty impressive shot. If, as accurate as it was, that took some skill and effort. That's not 100%. I don't know if you've ever been like deer hunting or whatever, and I've talked about it on this show before, but the first time I did it, my heart's like pounding through my chest. And I can tell you I've never tried to assassinate somebody or assassinated somebody, but I imagine your heart might be pounding through your chest, and there's a lot of excitement and adrenaline at that moment, especially when I just had a cop pointing a gun at me and I know they're hot on my trail, right? That adds like some intense pressure. But it would be very reasonable for the Secret Service to assume that pretty much anybody who shot deer has a good probability of making that shot from that distance. So it is a reasonable to say that needs to be covered. There wasn't even like a police car in the lot with the lights on, like over there. There was nothing to indicate like, hey, don't climb up on this roof. They didn't do nothing. I mean, that's kind of embarrassing. So
it is. It's very embarrassing.
This kid gets up there and he has a standard AR-15. This is not the actual weapon, but this is what you can expect. I don't know if it was tactical with, OD green stuff. It probably wasn't. A lot of guys don't do that. But the big answer is, what was his scope? He had a red dot EOTech. No magnification at all. Just a red dot. And I got to say, no magnification, I'm certain. So you're telling me that this guy does it with a red dot? Now, I know that I shoot with a red dot and I hit a 100-yard target with a 5.56 that is about 10 inches round, but it would be very reasonable for me to miss it too. And for him to be that spot on, he did pretty impressive, effort there.
50 yards.
Yeah, about 130 is what
I read that was between 193 feet and 393 feet and 492 feet, which is a pretty big goddamn. Like, you would think you'd be able to net a little bit more than 100.
We don't have a rangefinder. I think you can Google Earth and put a dot where Trump is and over to the other and get a more accurate, diagnosis with that. But that was the breakdown of that. Next, I mean, so So that's concerning, right? That Secret Service didn't seem to scope it out as well as they should have. There were some failures there. Initially, that Kimberly Cheadle had said that she had told everybody that, the local police were in charge of securing the outer perimeter. So we had nothing to do with it. And she sounded like a whiny child. And I think somebody was like, hey, you're being an idiot. You got to roll that back. So there's another.
Why is anything over 100 yards away outside of the perimeter? You know what I mean? That's crazy.
So then later she walked it back and she was like, well, this was the Secret Service's operation. And so the reporter is like, so the buck stops with you? And she's like, yeah, the buck stops with us. And like, yeah, we're in charge. And they're like, so are you going to resign? No, whoa, we're not doing any of that. I mean, she used to be head of security for Pepsi before this. So, I mean, she keeps those soda cans safe. And I mean, I guess somebody's got to keep the secret recipe. That's maybe,
you know, the rest. The movie The Jerk with Steve Martin in it.
Yes. Yep.
And then snipers shooting at him. We have to get these.
Yeah.
She was on top of that one too. So
exactly. I think she was in charge at that point. So that tracks. Now there was another rumor. There was a lot about why the delay with shooting the sniper and all that. There was a Facebook post going around, or I guess it was on Twitter, like formerly X, right? So, and this guy's like, yeah, I'm the sniper who took the shot. And this kind of affirmed with why everybody thought the shooter was the guy on the roof with the tripod. But turned out that was totally made up and just bullshit. That guy, he didn't get fired. He wasn't the guy. I mean, I would hope that somebody got fired in this operation. But I don't think the sniper was the problem, and those guys weren't the problem. So the deal is, those guys, I started to touch on this earlier, were rocking a 25 times magnification scope, and they're searching. It was 5 to 25. They're searching the outer perimeter, right? So you have to kind of like rethink. Wait, where am I looking now? And bring it back. Like I know 100 yards sounds like the outer perimeter, but no, these guys were looking out, and they said, I heard it on another interview where a guy had talked to the Secret Service, and he said that the angle of the roof, they actually didn't have a good shot of the shooter, and so was somebody else in the same building area that he was that took the shot. That was the Secret Service sniper team. And they took the shot and did get the headshot. And I was told it was pretty impressive with the angles that, things were pretty great. I mean, they pulled it off. So as far as the sniper and the reaction time, no problem. We're not knocking any fault there. Where I see fault, and obviously, anybody can Monday morning quarterback, right? Oh yeah, you should have done that, you idiot. You didn't see that guy sneaking around behind you? We all saw it on TV, right? That's how things go, and we all want to throw stones. I don't think there was any problem with the sniper's response, the Secret Service there. My problem with the Secret Service is funds and resources of having enough people there. They didn't scope it out early enough, early on planning for the event. And two, the bottom line, you don't miss something as obvious as covering a building that close. I mean, if I look around, one, if I'm scoping something like that, in my mind, there's no chance that roof isn't going to be covered. So as a shooter, I'm going to be like, well, that's not a choice. And that's one of the things that a lot of the conspiracy theories are coming from, is why did the guy even think he would have a shot being able to get on that roof that close? I mean, that's insane. My second choice would probably be the trees, and set up a hide in the trees. You can see right about where it says 130 yards, somewhere up in there, it would maybe be
Right.
possible to set up in the trees. But to me, that would have also been covered in my mind.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I mean, that's just insanity that we did not cover such an obvious, like right there. And to me, that is an epic failure. And then the stupid
Mhm.
ass statements of we didn't get somebody on the roof because it was dangerous and they might have fallen off is
Yeah,
the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
the roof they were on had the same slope, if not steeper. I mean,
Exactly. It just didn't
you're
make any
already on a
sense.
slope roof.
Um yeah, no,
Yeah,
it
the
just
bullshit
is
to me.
disgusting. Now, there's another thing that I wanted to talk into here is, people say, "Oh, DEI hires," or "This is why we shouldn't have women doing, equal jobs and whatever." And I see a lot of stupid memes about that. I don't think it's because it's women, but there is a woman who should not have this job. And I gotta say, when everybody's jumping on the president and you're
Mhm.
cowering, it doesn't even appear that she has her gun out. If she does, it's not at the ready. It's not in her right hand. She's just
Right.
like hiding behind the president, going, "Oh." And what's ironic is she's actually on the side of the shooter. So she's
Right.
not even hiding behind him, but she doesn't know that. And
Mhm.
that's concerning. So I do have she has this like horribly embarrassing holster draw that was just
Yeah.
insane, and trying to get her gun back in the holster is even more insane, and it's just embarrassing for everybody. And the thing is, I didn't need the internet to tell me. I was watching the video, like I said, right after it happened, and I'm like, "Oh my god, look at that girl work her gun in the holster. That's ridiculous."
Mhm.
And my wife's like, "Why are you picking on women?" And I'm like, "That's insanity. That girl cannot work her gun." So, I'm going to show it to you. All right. It was just brutal. I mean, they're just, come on. That's insanity. One, she's completely out of shape and looks like Melissa McCarthy. Actually, I was told the Blues Brothers meet Melissa McCarthy is kind of the picture, but it's just bad, right? Now, I'm obviously not the symbol of fitness and health, but I feel like you put me head to head with this girl and I might win that race, right? And I'm a little worried that that's what we choose as the best and brightest, right? So DEI, I'm so out of touch with the world that I was like, I don't even know what that means. I had to ask my buddies at work. Like, I could get the inference from all the memes that it was like equal opportunity hire, but that was about it. And I'm like, what? And they're like, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion, or it might be equality. They said equity is what I was told, but I don't think, I don't. Anyway, but really, are you freaking kidding me? This girl, that's embarrassing, dude. All right, there's no way. Now, mind you, I was told that woman is Secret Service, but she is not part of Trump's actual detail. She was somebody who was added on when they, said, "Hey, look, we're really short staffed. Can you send somebody?" And apparently they found a cafeteria worker, or maybe this lady answers the phone at the Secret Service. I don't know, but she has no business holding a gun and going out in public and trying to defend the president, or the former president of the United States, right? So that's concerning to me. Kevin, thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're right though about that body shape to start off with. Kind of
Rough.
I don't know, dude. I would not if I saw her in street clothes, I would not expect that she was somebody that was some sort
A
of a security
protector?
person. Yeah. No. She was about as big around as she was tall, which, you know, was about 4'2" or something. And I mean, really, and the way she held the gun, though, it's extremely obvious that she was not comfortable with it. She wasn't somebody that was comfortable handling a handgun. And if you're in the Secret Service, that seems to be like one of the basics, you know? You don't necessarily have to be a sniper, but
now you're like, oh, Chuck, you just caught her at the wrong moment twice. And, you know, that could happen to anybody. Okay. Well, how about this? Later, they arrive at the hospital. I got another one.
Why? They haven't told us to get away from the window. I am too. Just why?
I don't know. She doesn't have her hand on the trigger. If I played the whole video, I don't want to waste our time. But if I played the whole video, she also has holster issues with that one, with the quick draw. It's bad, right? This girl, it's just bad. And there's no business being out there. And I don't care that you're fat. There was actually a heavier girl that they showed in the video when they all kind of jump around, or I guess when they're going to the car, when she does the holster grab, there's a lady in the background who at least looks coherent. She's holding the gun properly. She's looking around. She's got her gun at the ready and is like able to go. And I don't see a big problem. My wife kept pointing out, well, the blonde girl who was in front of Trump, who, you know, kind of jumped on him, she's like telling people what to do and looked like she was on it. I agree. She looked like it was really together, but at the same time, she was a little short to be protecting a guy that's 6-something when you can't get on top of him. I mean, that's how he came out with the big fight, you know? It
over the top of multiple people.
Right. And that's it. I mean, Trump's a big guy, right? I wouldn't be the appropriate choice. Now, I have some width that could get around Trump maybe, but I don't have the height that could, you know, that could cover that guy. I would be like, Trump, man, you got to get on your knees, man, because I'm trying to help you here, but I'm willing to take the shot for you, but I can't get up to your head. So, you know, it's just awkward. So, so bottom line, AR-15 with a red dot, that guy was killing it.
Did a good job.
He did a reasonable attempt. Obviously, attempting to assassinate somebody is insanity, right? You know, that's why we vote. It's why we have the society. And I understand all day that people become more and more frustrated when, one, they feel like they're not heard. They feel like the media is lying to them, and it's reasonable to infer that the media is lying to you. And it's just that you need to, you know, we just got to keep fighting. We just got to keep going for a better process. I understand they are completely ignoring the Constitution. You know, the rules of law, the things that we were taught, the absolutes are not absolute anymore. And I understand that. And that's so frustrating. But wanting to hurt somebody that, you know, whatever, that's not the right answer. It's not the way to do it. Now, just being able to protect yourself, right? Being able to protect yourself is the right answer. Learning to shoot and be prepared, carrying a weapon all the time. Yes, good answer. Do that, because there are psycho nut jobs like that. Now, Kevin, you said there were possibly some conspiracy theories going on out there.
Oh, yeah, buddy. All sorts of them. And they started happening immediately. The first one I saw was a picture of Donald Trump with a bullet hole in the chest of his suit. And they said that he had a bulletproof vest and got the same picture without a bullet hole. And it was basically somebody just made that shit up. You know, so he put that bullet hole on his suit. Second thing,
but they got a lot of likes, right? And a lot of shares.
Yeah. Oh, got a lot of shares. Yeah. Second thing I saw was a video of a guy that looked similar to Thomas Matthew Crooks, saying that he was Thomas Matthew Crooks and they hadn't got him yet, and he hated Republicans, and I forget what the other thing he said, but you know, some crazy bullshit, and then started laughing, and the video ended. And that was posted to social media under a new profile that had the shooter's name on it. You know what I mean? But it was
Right,
made up after the.
Right.
What I heard from a bunch of Biden supporters was that Trump had himself shot for sympathy, to garner sympathy, right?
Yep.
But bro, if I was
You
gonna
ain't
have
coming that close to my ear.
somebody shoot at me,
Yeah.
you're not nicking my ear.
Well, right. At
That's
first,
an inch off from blowing my head apart.
yeah. Well, at first you're
So,
thinking
that was the other
razor
one.
blade. Yeah, you're thinking razor blade like the WWE, but
Yes.
there is that video of that bullet, actually whizzing by his ear, and you can
Right.
actually see the air kind of displacement as it goes by him. But again, how many videos we saw a video of a hole in his suit, right, with the bulletproof vest? So
Right.
I don't.
Yeah.
Real.
You don't know what's made up and what's real anymore. The other one I heard is that Biden tape had it done. But that doesn't really make sense either. Either kill him or don't kill him. You don't miss by. And if this guy wasn't like a 2-year-old or a 20-year-old bird, why would you hire some retard like that to assassinate your enemy? You know, you get a pro to do it. The one I heard is that there are 2 years, but there's absolutely no evidence for that in any way. So I mean,
in the grassy knoll, was he in the grassy knoll?
A lot of, he was in the grassy knoll. Right. There's more conspiracy theories that come, but I think it's pretty obvious happened. It's pretty straightforward, and you're really gonna have to work to make a conspiracy theory
to find it
like reasonable.
Yeah.
It's like most assassinations. It's just a crazy person doing crazy people things. You know.
So it's basically like not like 9/11 where there's all this obvious evidence that it was a complete inside government job, and right. It's not like that. Or Kennedy with the 17 shooters with JFK. Not like that.
Yeah. There are people everywhere. There are 3 shots fired, but there are people everywhere fired.
Well,
shooting
but there were people everywhere in case he, got down the road and that shot was fouled. Yeah, no, they were on it. But it just, I mean, man, I go back, I look at that picture of the cow on the roof. That was just the funniest thing. I mean, that's like a meme going around that I just thought was funny because they're like, look, cow can stand on there. How can the Secret Service not? That's just insanity to not. No,
actually,
I understand.
The Secret Service came to my house. They were going to serve a warrant, but I climbed up on the roof, and so they couldn't get up there.
They were. What are we going to do now?
What would we do? There's nothing we can do about this.
Oh, he got away. Can't do it. It's just bad. But I got to say, with agents like we saw, maybe that was realistic. Because they were like, oh, we could put this girl up on the roof. And they were like, no. And it's not going to work with the high heels, Kevin.
Nah.
It's not. Kevin, you're a horrible person. Oh, man. All right. But that's what we got.
A terrible person.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem.
I just wanted to give it a quick breakdown. Yeah. Now, I wanted to give you guys the quick breakdown and give you our take on it. But I really appreciate you, being here, sticking around with us. And I think we'll do a quick after show for you guys who want to stick around. Slow. Appreciate you. So with that, I would say stay safe, and we will talk to you guys next week.